tell you about what's going on with the market in terms of Bitcoin. The daily volatility reads are frankly looking very good. We've got a short, middle, and long length volatility, all indicating price go to the upside. We've got the asset in mean reversion on the daily to the 1110 RMLR, in mean reversion on the 10 hour, in mean reversion on the 8 hour, all very nicely. And all those mean reversions are to the upside. So, is it likely to complete those mean reversions today? No, it isn't necessarily going to complete those mean reversions today, but you certainly start heading that way. And so far on the day, it's been doing fairly well with that. Hasn't made any significant movement, around 1% up from the bottom on the day so far, and it's been bouncing around there since the last I looked at it about 15-20 minutes ago. If you look at what's happening, on the entropy, we obviously are having some nice little trending moves up and down on the lower time frames. If you look at the VRE, you'll see that the central daily range of the VRE is quite tight. It's around 0.02% of the asset's value, and that means that the probabilities are that all in all, it's likely to be a trending day, and there's already been a little trending move on the 15 minutes earlier today. So you'll certainly see more of them on lower time frames. There's plenty of them, but don't be surprised if you also see, the 4 hour and maybe even the daily move back towards trending move. It could very well be that today we'll see some nice motion on the VEPs, and that's effectively what is happening with that asset. If you look at Solana, for example, or Ethereum, but if you look at Solana, for example, you'll see there are some similarities in the setups, some differences, different levels being hit, but there's still levels being nice and hit. There are some mean reversions happening, some less, some that are, it's mean reversion without having hit an outlier on the extreme one way or the other, but it's still mean reverting, and that's perfectly fine. You don't have to have an extreme outlier hitting like a third band or more on an RMLR in order for the mean reversion to obviously take place, because you see mean reversions constantly, right? The benefit of using the RMLR in order to see when mean reversions are definitely happening is that when they're actually, you can say for sure or with extremely high confidence, right, that they are happening 2 bands or more after they've last hit an outlier band on the third standard deviation band. They can still happen if they hit the second band. They can still happen if they hit the first band. They can still happen if they don't hit any band. And it just moves away a bit from the mean, and then mean reverts to it. That happens quite normally, right? But it's just when you have the outliers, it's a lot easier in a sense to know when the process is in process, right? That's kind of the point of using that kind of a tool, where you can see that the outlier is in fact creating a setup for a mean reversion. In any case, you can look at Ethereum, take a look at Dixie. It's also having interesting setups. Obviously, the main reason to look at Dixie to begin with, even if you're not trading Dixie specifically, if you trade U.S. markets or you trade anything tied to U.S. markets, obviously anything in U.S. markets and a lot of things in crypto, the most popular asset pairs in crypto are traded against the USD. Right, so if it's trading against the USD, you should know how the dollar is doing. And what's Dixie? Dixie DXY is obviously a basket of about a half a dozen currencies from around the world, pound, euro, yen, etc., that trade against the US dollar, and that average is what that number reflects. It's like an index of currencies trading against the dollar. And so when when Dixie rises, you typically see, and especially in the higher time frames, but you typically see, other assets, stocks, commodities, crypto, things like that. Typically see them go lower, and then when the dollar falls, you typically see those other things go higher. And but again, minute by minute, it also has very similar tendencies. But that's, of course, because when you peg something to the dollar as your pair, and obviously when the thing you're selling is more expensive, it's going to cost more dollars. When it's less expensive, it's going to cost less dollars, right? That's kind of no-brainer. Today, obviously, there's that FOMC thing or whatever, and it's estimated that interest rates, there'll be an announcement that they're going to cut interest rates this year. Who knows? Analysts are expecting it. I say it doesn't matter what they say. That stuff is priced in one way or the other, right? If they say they're going to cut interest rates, the purchases are already made. If they say they're going to sell, they're going to do nothing. The other decisions are already made. If they say they're going to increase them for some reason, those decisions are also made, right? It's not a, the markets don't move according to what happens in the news, right? The markets move according to the VEPs. That's really all that moves them. There's really nothing else that moves them. And that's why you should stick your head on the charts, looking at the VEPs, and not just looking at random nonsense that can easily mislead you as a trader. All right, so that's it. See you guys at the Alpha Trading live stream. As always, starts at 9 a.m. Eastern time in the U.S. And that's it. Have a good one. Happy trading.